Here's a warm welcome to the 13th episode of Digital India Podcast on FIR Podcast Network. This show is called Weekly Updates, and this is brought to you by staff and students of Web Marketing Academy, and I am Mansi. This show gives you the latest updates in the digital marketing world in India. Please note, today is the 1st of September 2015 and we are giving you the updates for the last 7 days. Here are the headlines. Go online to buy onion at half the price. That's the first story that we're going to talk about today. The second story is about broadband growth largely happening in rural India. That's a very interesting interview that is there, which has got a lot of statistics. And the third one is startups start saving. Winter is here. And here they're talking about how money is not going to, come in freely and that easily as it used to be before this, where, you went in for funding and if the investors were convinced enough, they would just give you the money. It's not like that anymore because investors have started talking, have started asking questions, have started mapping statistics. The fourth story is about e-commerce players betting on offline presence. Now, that's a very interesting story. See, we've always discussed about how most businesses, if you have the relevant audience, you need to be present online. But here's a story where we're talking about how every e-commerce portal must look at having an offline presence. Yes, the tables seem to have turned. Alright, those were the headlines and here are the detailed stories. Now, as I said, the first story is about onion and this story is straight from the Economic Times. It says online grocery stores like Local Banya, Mera Grocer and other offering onions at rupees 40 to 69 per kilogram. Well, if you're wondering what this is all about, it just so happened that in the last week, onion is something that probably every Indian uses. It's something that, we get kilos and kilos of it every week and stock it up and use it in every food that we cook. And with onion being like, really local and everybody using it, it just so happened that last week it sped up to like 120 per kilogram. Now that was too much. Onions were available for 20 rupees, 30 rupees a kilogram and it just shot up to 100 rupees. So here's a story in Economic Times and they say, when Reliance Retail started selling fruits and vegetables at prices that was lower than the market rates, and they talked about, eliminating the middlemen, the then Mayawati government in Uttar Pradesh shut the stores, calling it a law and order problem. And this was in the early 2004 or 2005. Okay, and 8 years later, that's now, probably about a decade ago, 8 years later, online grocery stores are looking to gain favor with customers by offering onions at about half the rate that neighborhood stores are charging. Now, companies such as Local Banya, Mera Grocer, Fresh Phal Sabzi, that's FRESHFALSABZI.com, and Grocer Max are offering onions at rupees 40 to 69 rupees per kilogram against the 80 to 120 rupees or more that is being sold in the shops. They are able to do this through better logistics and by cutting out the middlemen. The low onion prices are a result of the mix of marketing strategy and procurement, said Local Banya Chief Executive Officer. And he's talking about how the, giving out onions itself is a marketing strategy. His name is Karan Mehrotra. We do take a hit on margins at times for the benefit of customers. The online stores model is partly inventory led. It also uses just-in-time procurement, thus getting very good deals at times. We do like to pass on these benefits to our customers. That's what Local Banya has to say. Then there is FreshPhalSabzi.com. That's another Delhi-based startup. It's a retailer for fresh fruits and vegetables. They are selling onions for 40 rupees per kg. Now that's less than half. We are selling onions at a loss but have reduced marketing spends, including spends on local ads and sponsorships. Now that's what Rajesh Gupta had to say, and Rajesh is the chairperson of the RSND group promoting Fresh Phal Sabzi. Now, Fresh Fal Sabzi gets the vegetables directly from farms and it's selling them on a no profit, no loss model, at least for now. That's what Mr. Gupta has to say. That's Rajesh Gupta, the chairperson. Gurgaon-based online grocer Mera Grocer ran a 30% discount promotion from Wednesday to Sunday. Some items were at less than the wholesale price. Onions were available for rupees 42 per kilogram. The campaign has been extended to this week for the vegetables. Wow, a lot of people selling a lot of vegetables and giving discounts on vegetables, which means that, if you go to a shop and pick it up, you're actually paying more. And if you just sit at home and order and it comes to your house, you're paying lesser. Wow, that's a good way to, attract customers and ensure that, they are with you for a long time. While online grocers aren't making money, most are flush with funds and spend heavily on marketing and promotions. Industry estimates suggest that the food and grocery make up close to 3/4 of the country's overall retail spend. According to a report by researcher Kantar Word Panel, that's KANTARWORLD Panel, e-commerce for the fast-moving consumer goods, that's FMCG, will increase 47% to about $53 billion by 2016, up from $36 billion in 2014. We buy onions directly from cropping areas in Maharashtra from agents who bid in the auction. We do not speculate, but we disintermediate all middlemen and keep our margins to single digits. That's what Radhakrishna from the grossmax.com had to say. He's of course the co-founder of Grossmax, GROCERMAX. That's the website we're talking about. So this story basically talks about how you should buy online because you get it at much lesser a cost. Second, you don't have to go to the shop, which means that the whole shopping comes to you. And the third thing is you don't seem to be cheated. Okay, because online, they're trying to make sure that the quality is great because they want you to come back to their site. That's the first story we have. And before we move on to the next story, we have an awesome tip coming your way.
Hey everybody, this is Suresh from Web Marketing Academy, again coming at you from Bangalore, India. We had an amazing discussion today. Hope you're going to hear that by the end of this particular podcast. But I am here to just come and talk to you and give you some specific tips. My number one tip, I would not say it is a tip, but it is more like a shout out, a reference for communicators like you. I'm sure a lot of people who are listening to this podcast are either a communicator or a speaker or somehow they are involved in communication. So for those who are listening, my number one thing is, now recently I was trying to go to find some resources for speaking because I speak a lot. I still felt that my speaking was not right. So, and then I came across this awesome workshop last year in February. This is Michael Port and Amy. Michael Port's Heroic Public Speaking. I would say it's a great place to find information related to speaking communication. michaelport.com, his workshops known as Heroic Public Speaking. Awesome. It is a little bit expensive for me to go from Bangalore to Fort Lauderdale to attend this 2-day workshop, but it is absolutely worth it. Worth the 2-day workshop. You will completely transform from where you are, and specific tools and techniques are taught. This 2-day workshop is intense workshop. And you have a graduate program for a year. That is also great. So this, Michael and Amy, they are actors, and they do this workshop amazing. I had an opportunity to meet with Chris Brogan. He was speaking, and Jay Baer from Convince and Convert, and Marcus from the Sales Lion. So all these well-known speakers, I was able to connect with them. So I would definitely want you guys to check out Michael Port. And if you don't want to attend his events or workshops, I would recommend his book, Steal the Show. Amazing. So if you are a communicator, this is a great place. Just go to michaelport.com or Heroic Public Speaking and watch some of his videos and blog posts. Great resources. That is my number one tip.
Thank you so much for that tip. And here is a second story, and it's talking about broadband growth largely happening in rural areas. That's another story from the Economic Times. Now, in this story, what has happened is Economic Times has an exclusive interview with the Airtel Director Markets Operation, that's Ajay Puri, and they are talking about how 3G adoption in rural India adds to 3/4 of the country's incremental subscribers every year. It's talking basically about how Airtel is going to introduce 3G in rural India. The article gives us the excerpts from an interview. Now, Ajay here is talking about how the carrier, that's Airtel, has 32% share of the rural mobile telephony market. And he's talking about how data consumption is dominated by videos and music. He's saying that, in the rural world, the data that's consumed is mostly because of video and music. Talking about Airtel's market share, he says, we hold a significant base of rural subscribers at about 110 million subscribers. And that's 32% of the share of the market of the total consumer base. We have 3G in 1.5 lakh of the 6 lakh villages. And that's probably the highest for any of the operator that's present in India. So they cover more than 1/6 of the villages that we have. And talking about plans for 3G network, where, introduction of 3G network in the rural spaces, he says, in Maharashtra, Gujarat, UP East, Haryana and Madhya Pradesh, we are rapidly rolling out 3G networks, which should be running by September end. But in Punjab, we will have 3G slightly later than that. And when asked about, what is the kind of traffic that you're looking at, is it too heavy, and what kind of people use data connections, he says some of the busiest sites for us are the northeast in Arunachal Pradesh. Some of the sites in northeast are 10 times busier than sites in cosmopolitan cities. Among the highest spectrum users are Patna, Jaipur and Kota, where per site utilization of data is the highest. And this is because of the scarcity of wireline broadband. And when asked about some of the interesting trends in rural 3G consumption, they say it is dominated by video and music, something that we've already told you. A 15 to 18-year-old adolescent, even in a village, checks Facebook about 8 times a day, downloads music clips, and so does a bit of everything. Interestingly, we can see higher purchase of packs. So that's the story of broadband consumption in India. That was an exclusive interview Economic Times had with Bharti Airtel, and that was Ajay talking about the trends and the statistics. And before we move on to the next story, which is about how startups have finally started saving money because it's winter, we have a tip coming your way. Please do note it down and let us know if you use this tip and how you feel about this tip.
My number 2, most of the time we underestimate the annual reports of a public limited companies. Okay. So now there are some hidden treasures in those reports. Of course, it's long and lengthy and boring, but if you look for some cues, you will find a lot of information. What, for example, Google is going to focus the next year, what Facebook is going to focus the next year, how was the revenue. It's not just for the revenue, but you will try to understand that these companies are focusing on this technology. They're going to invest in this particular technology. So in a way, you can actually predict what they are doing. So that's a good insights in annual reports. So check out Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, Google. Check out their annual report. You will get a lot of insights out of it.
Thank you so much for the tip. And the third story we have for today is from Business Standard. And it's talking about how startups have started saving and winter is here. It says, after the exuberance comes the reality check. E-commerce in India is warming up for a course correction as funding is slowing down, and then bigger deals are getting fewer, and investors take stock and ask startups how they plan to make money. Now the big boys will continue to get funded, but the days of easy money could be over. A couple of stats that they have given, and they're talking about why startups have to start saving for the winter. There's a slowdown in funding. We may not see too many of those, $50 million, those kind of rounds. The deals are taking a lot more longer to close. Previously, it was about 3 to 4 weeks, but then it's, a couple of months now. Also, the investors say that, a slow correction is already underway. Valuations are not increasing in the latest funding rounds. So if you're asking for more money, it's not going to be easy for you because the evaluation seem to have, a little different parameters this time. See, for example, Flipkart is in talks with the investors since March 2015, but they have still not been able to close its, latest round of funding. In fact, because of this delay, people like, Snapdeal, they have settled for a evaluation lower than what it initially sought for. They were like, it's going to be delayed because of the evaluation. We may as well take it at a lower price, but just do give us the funds. That's what Snapdeal has to say. Investors now want to price profit over growth. Till now, it was only growth mattered. So now investors are looking into, how much are you spending and how much are you getting. Also, hyperlocal food, grocery and home services businesses getting crowded will find it difficult to raise fund at higher value. Now, we just talked about onions in the previous story. So, if you're looking at food to be sold in the online world, that's the e-commerce world, it's definitely going to be a lot more difficult because, when you're looking at everyday use items, one is they're not that expensive, plus you will need it in smaller quantity and it's not like a one-time investment. You keep investing in that. So if you're looking at volumes and if you want to be an e-commerce portal who's selling in every day, it's going to be very difficult because you have to convince your investors on, how will you plan to get all these people to your website on a daily basis? Because you need groceries daily or probably even weekly for that matter. That was the third story we have for today. And before we move on to the next story, there's an interesting tip coming your way.
My third tip is we all use Facebook, but if you're managing a page, an important update, or I would say a tool, is Facebook Pages app for mobile. Awesome. This is an awesome Facebook app. So you can do a lot of things which you can do in this desktop, but if you have a specific page app, you can actually see a lot of insights and you can actually schedule posts. You can upload videos directly as that particular page admin. So there are lots of other features in that particular thing. So if you have to upload a video, it would be uploaded as the page. So check out, it's simple but very useful tool or an app, Facebook Pages app. And you can actually manage multiple pages, not only just one page. You are managing several pages. You can check it out, that one too. Talking about Facebook app, I would like to give a few tips on Facebook. Number one, when you post and you get a comment and you see a lot of comments, my suggestion is take one comment and respond to that one comment and give it some time, maybe a couple of hours, and then respond to another comment. When you do this, what we typically tend to do is we try to respond to the comments immediately. Like 10 comments are there, we try to respond to them immediately. Take your time, reply to the comment, taking breaks in between. Respond for one comment. After half an hour, respond to another comment. What this does is, this helps the algorithm, Facebook algorithm, to show that particular post more often to the users. So there's liveliness in that particular comment. So it brings more of update and it shows up in the newsfeed. That's one tip. And then if you're not advertising, or if you're advertising, my suggestion is to look at custom audience. So there is one option where you can look at custom audience and lookalike audience. This is nothing but custom audience is you can upload a database of email addresses and you can target specifically those people. That is the custom audience, or people who visited. It's like remarketing. People who visited your Facebook page or your website, you're going to target them. It's a good one. Custom audience and lookalike audience is nothing but the same database. Facebook will go and fetch. For example, if you're uploading 100 different email address to Facebook custom audience. Facebook will go and look for 10,000 different lookalike audience. So similar to those profiles, and you can target specifically those people. And then again, everybody is talking about Facebook organic reach reduced. Yes, it has reduced, but if you have good content, it will always be good. One more tip is leave your organic reach. I mean, if you want to reach out to a lot of people, you have to boost your Facebook or you have to sponsor. But my suggestion is when you upload or when you share a post, give it 1 or 2 days organically to reach to a certain level. And after 2 days, you start to boost or sponsor that particular post. So those are my tips. Again, this is Suresh from Web Marketing Academy. Thank you so much for listening. But last but not the least, we will miss you, Neville. I mean, thank you for giving us this wonderful opportunity to be part of FIR network. We are so grateful, and we have a bunch of people here who are giving inputs about the podcast. Shell and Neville, thank you once again for giving this opportunity for us to do the Digital India podcast in the FIR Podcast network. We will miss Neville. Thank you once again. This is Suresh from Web Marketing Academy.
Here's the fourth story we have, and yet again, that's also from Business Standard. Now, this is very interesting. We've picked up the story because, see, all this while, as digital marketers, we are trying to spread awareness on how important it is for every business to have its properties in the online world. It could be a website, it could be a social media presence, it could be your reviews. And we've also told time and again that, if you're not going to be in the online world, it's not like people are not going to speak about you in the online world. They will speak about it. If you're in the online world, you can actually listen to it directly. And if you're not, if you're just shying away from being in the online world, people are still not going to stop talking about you. They will talk about it. All this discussion that we've had so far is about how business should get to the online world. But here is an interesting story which talks about how e-commerce businesses, that's the online websites which are selling, have to also have an offline presence. Now, according to the market sources in 2014, over 70% of e-commerce website based transaction came from 10 largest cities of India. But no, that was in 2014. But in February 2015, Amazon grabbed the headlines by announcing an offline store in Manhattan. Amazon may have realized the need for an offline store now, but several online players in India have been acquiring an offline presence for a very, very long time now. See, for example, furniture portal Pepperfry, according to JLL India, it became the latest e-commerce player to go hybrid after it leased out 1,800 square feet space at Linking Road in Mumbai. For us, offline stores are a part of our marketing campaign, and these will be more of experience centers, says Ambrish Murthy, and he's a co-founder and the CEO of Pepperfry. The company plans to have 8 stores by the end of this year. Now, I'm very excited about this because every day while coming to Web Marketing Academy, I kind of see the Pepperfry store on this 100-feet road in Indiranagar, and I must say it's absolutely brilliant. Because, it's got the glass windows and there's furniture displayed everywhere. And the way they have kind of made it, it feels that, I know you have a sofa at home, but then I want to have that sofa as well. It goes with, the decorum and, how you want to place your hall, how do you want to decorate your house, your interiors. That's a brilliant way Pepperfry is doing it. Of course, among the, early players that had offline presence as a part of their growth strategy was First Cry. That's an online portal for babies and kids. The company has 124 offline stores, which it intends to increase to 200 by January 2016. So they already have 124 stores. It's going to be 200 by another 4-5 months. We are opening 10 to 15 stores a month. We always wanted to be present at every touch point. Within 6 months of our operations, we had started building our offline presence, and we now also have a mobile app for those of you who want to shop on the go. That's what Anuj Jain, now he's a senior VP of marketing from First Cry. First Cry has integrated 3 platforms to understand buyers. It allows us to map customer behavior. We have a larger presence in Tier 2 and Tier 3 cities, says Jain. The biggest nightmare for an online seller is to deal with shopping cart abandonment rate of 70 to 80%. The sweet spot is to be in the middle zone where online sellers connect with customers and also promote their products through multiple avenues. That's what Anuj Puri, that's chairperson and country head at JLL India, had to say. Having an offline store adds to a bunch of other parameters such as building trust and awareness about products and company. That's what Kashyap Vadapalli, that's the chief marketing officer of Pepperfry, had to say. Now, this is very true, in India, when people are buying, I think we've discussed this in probably the 11th episode or the 10th episode of our podcast, where we're seeing how experiencing the product becomes a big thing. It's a big deal for all Indians. If you're going to buy things in the online world, how will you feel it? How will you know it's silk, right? How will you know how scented candles, the aroma candles actually smell? So here is Kashyap from Pepperfry, who says that, you walk into the store, you actually see the products. He's hoping that this will translate to your online buying, which means that, you buy one product now. And since it's the same brand that is selling online, you're thinking that, okay, I have bought this product and it was great, or I have felt this product, I've experienced this product in their studio. It feels great. Therefore, let me order online. That's what most of the online stores are banking on. In fact, Lenskart has opened stores in malls to connect with customers. There's Free Culture, an online fashion brand, is also moving into a physical space. Now, Murthy has said that for one outdoor campaign in a city like Bangalore, the marketing spend for a month is about 50 lakhs. Whereas to set up an experience center, we spend close to about 40 lakhs annually. Now 50 lakhs is for the monthly budget and 40 lakhs annually. That's the whole year. So here is, let me just sum up. There's a lot of things that I've said in the story. So let me just sum this up. The article just sums it up saying retail push. Online portal First Try has 124 on offline stores and it plans to increase it to 200 by 2016. Lenskart has opened stores in malls to connect with customers. Online fashion brand Free Culture is also moving into physical space. In 2014, over 70% of online transaction came from top 10 cities. The vast majority of transactions still take place in stores. That was me summing up the story that we just talked about, how e-commerce portals are moving into having a physical presence and how they're hoping that people will come into the store, experience the products, experience the services, and then, for their convenience, they will go back and start ordering online. Those were some of the detailed stories that we have for this week. Before I let you off, we thought we should discuss a very interesting topic that we have today. Remember those days when, the only channel of communication was probably radio? It started off with radio first. Even today in India, the All India Radio, it can reach 98% of the geography of India. That's the kind of infrastructure they have. Then, of course, we moved on to television and we've got plenty of channels now, right? That's how India is working right now. Fragmented, lots of people looking at lots of channels, cross channels and fan followers basically. And then I think we moved on to the internet world, right? So in the internet world, that itself is new. Online world and digital marketing world itself is new for us. We are still trying to catch up. The social media thing is a big one. We started off with websites, but now interaction, the web 1.0, 2.0, 3.0, basically the user experience and the conversation. That's how we have progressed. And to talk about the mobile user behavior in India, we have a panel right here at WMA, and I'm joined by none other than Suresh Babu, who is the founder of Web Marketing Academy.
Thank you.
All right. We also have Monica, who is the faculty at Web Marketing Academy. Welcome to the show, Monica.
Thank you, Mansi.
And we have Sumedha, the new joinee and also a faculty at Web Marketing Academy. Welcome, Sumedha.
Hello, thank you.
And of course, we have Bharani, who's sitting here
Quietly.
all vulture eyes that, no more retakes, no takes. Bharani is here to give us all the instructions. So let's start off with this, that, why are we even talking about mobile user behavior in India? I'm looking at, the internet use of mobile in India. We've got a variety of phones. There's the smartphones bit, then there's the QWERTY keypad still going on. The Blackberries are still being used. And then there is Idea Cellular, which says, I'm going to give you internet on all the phones. It could be any kind of phone. There's such a huge mix and match. I wouldn't say a mismatch, but a mix and match. And considering the backgrounds that we come from in India, it's so different. So, Monica, let's start with you. What do you think is the scenario in India when it comes to mobile user behavior?
To start off with, I would disagree on a basic point here. When we talk about mobile, we don't focus only on the internet-enabled services. Mobile is a tool which connects people with multiple ways. If you see some of the best campaigns which have been run by brands in India, which have got huge results, are SMS marketing campaigns, missed call marketing campaigns, which do not require the internet, and they allow you to reach to an audience where smartphones still don't exist.
Right.
They still use feature phones, but that does not mean that they are not part of the target audience. They are a huge part of it. And so I think mobile has grown in a humongous way over the last few years. And if we see smartphones, definitely a lot of people are onto smartphones now, and the way they move to the next one, also the speed at which they do it is something like I envy. I wish I was there myself, but I'm not.
Yes.
And we have iPhone fanboys as well as the Android people. Like, we have that kind of culture today in India as well.
Right.
So the scenario has completely changed. And the consumption of all the marketing channels has also increased because of the existence of mobile.
Correct.
Emails, like today we took the class on email marketing, and I was just telling them that 65% of the emails are consumed on mobile.
Right.
I have friends who do not even open their laptop. They have a laptop at home, but they don't open it because they do everything on mobile.
Right.
It's good enough.
Well, that is Monica, a faculty at WMA, talking about 65% of the people opening their emails on mobile. Let's move on to Sumedha. Now, Sumedha's background, she's been in the US for about 10 years before moving to India in the last 2 years. And the mobile user behavior is way, way different when you look at these two geographies. Mm-hmm. Okay, so what's your experience in this, Sumedha?
Before that, I have taken a little snippet of what's back to the point from feature phone to smartphone. I just want to give you the little insights about the data, and then I would like to share about the experiences as well. So I was seeing a report where they were saying that 51% is the growth now from the feature phone to the smartphone. So 81 million smartphones shipped in 2014. And now the growth is 36% more. So in 2019, they were expecting 651 million smartphones in India.
That's a huge shift.
That is a huge shift which I'm seeing. So India is number 2. So right now it's coming towards the number 2 in the position of the usage of the smartphones. So the smartphones have already paced the feature phones growth, which I have told, and it is like more on the 36% growth. See, we can see the growth, how it is coming. And then I was looking into what it causes, like how it happens, like in India, what change have happened. And I find out, the immense competition between the price reduction. You won't believe, $35, which is 2,500 rupees, we can get the smartphone now. $36, that's about it. That's the price reduction. Why? I feel, like I was again reading 80 million investments which we have done for the lava, which for its own manufacture in India. So government incentive through Make in India. I was looking Make in India, what happened. So it seems Modi have given 800 million to the lava just to do it. The manufacture in India than the China. Earlier we were doing it from the China's market. The second point was, I feel, the operating system, the Android have come down. It's a free for everyone. Initially we used to pay for the smartphones, the actual instrument, and for the operating device. Now I feel, like it's just the manufacturing, that material. Operating system is free from the Google. And the third point I feel is, the Hindi launch. 36% people are still want to have the local language. They are not literate in English and Hindi. My husband was a part of Android program when it was launched in Gurgaon. Hindi localization, and I have seen a huge success. I was reading the stories at that time, and people were just buying crazily, because it just comes into the local language. So yeah, that is what my takeaway is.
That's quite a bit of statistics that we have on manufacturers, and we're talking about literacy levels here. That was Sumedha comparing and giving us statistics on shipping and movement from featured phones to smartphones, and also how Android as a free operating system is giving everybody, even including the manufacturers, the edge to drop the prices, ensuring that mobile devices are spread to every nook and corner of India. So now we move on to Suresh, and I have very specific questions for Suresh because I have my hands on an Ericsson report that's talking about the amount of mobile internet users growing substantially, 4 times the amount of users over the age of 50 and 3 times the amount of middle-aged users being added in the last 2 years. Now this report came out in early April 2015. They're also talking about growing appetite for e-commerce and mobile financial services among mobile broadband users. One, we have studies which is talking about the kind of consumption that we do on mobile. There are also other studies which is talking about the way you use your mobile, single-handedly, using both hands. So there are studies which is giving you everything to do with behavior analysis. So what's your take on this?
Before we continue to answer that question, I have specific things. We are doing Periscope for people who are watching live. We can't interact because Bharani will say don't move, don't do all these things. So we actually can't interact. But if you have any questions, we'll take it later and we'll address that one. So I want to address that one first. And I want to talk a little bit about touch. The reason I want to bring this topic is for others who are not in India, so we get a feel of what it is. So I thought this topic would be an interesting topic so that they get an understanding of how we use mobile. Huge part in our life. For me, touch is important. I mean, the touch has changed completely, right? And in our culture, if we notice, the touches are very, very important, right? I mean, the blessings, for examples. In other cultures, they do not do it, right? I mean, we touch the feet of our elders. The touch and those elements, the kumkum, for example, it's all about touch, Touch had made a significant impact. I don't know, maybe when Steve Jobs came to India, to Himalayas, maybe he had that thought, right? And that's what made it completely change the landscape of mobile. Never ever anybody thought that I'm going to use mobile. I mean, when they launched the iPhone, we were like, how can you use a phone without a keypad? I mean, it's revolutionized, right? It's somewhere the culture and relationship or touch. I think Steve Jobs took it and he is having it in the mobile. I think that's one of the important things. Thanks to Steve Jobs and his touch. And today I was listening to FIR B2B. Amazingly, Eric, he was talking about how GE is taking the next level. They're using drones and using Periscope. They're using both the technology, using drones to capture all the GE's activities and factories. I mean, that's amazing, right? Now we are doing Periscope. I mean, without the phone, you can't do Periscope. I mean, it's going to change. Those revolution is happening without our knowledge, but we are doing it.
Yeah, so like mobile is your bedside device, Maybe you'll forget to get your husband along sometime, but your phone is something which is constantly attached to you. So more than anything, the priorities have changed. And the way, there are 4 people sitting together and all of them are on their devices. So there's a plus and minus to it, as it is obvious through the world that, people are connected yet disconnected from each other. So that is one of the, the negative side of, too much of this. But the fact is that you see how people use WhatsApp. It's amazing.
Exactly.
The way, and the thing is, the one thing I love and I think which differentiates India from other countries is that the innovation which has come because of the mobile technology. If you see the first phone which Micromax made, it had a battery life of 1 month. And they did it because they understood the audience very well, that they were targeting people in rural places who did not have electricity at all.
Yes.
Where would they recharge the phone? So I feel a lot of Micromax is giving competition to Samsung and a lot of other vendors. Why is it doing that? Because it is understanding the audience and the challenges we face, which perhaps a foreign brand is unable to understand. And then these guys are then hiring people who will help them understand the Indian challenges specifically. Like for example, there was a construction company which I wanted to understand, because our vehicles are also built in a different way to, kind of make sure that all the potholes don't do, which other countries don't have to worry about.
Correct.
I think that, that has also made a lot of difference. because the consumer need, the genuine consumer need is being met through mobile technology. And when you have something right in your hand, which will help you achieve so many things, your entertainment, your communication, everything. And it's like every month there is something new, a new application. So Periscope came in, you had Meerkat, and then you had Google Hangouts and Skype. The moment it came into the mobile, suddenly the Skype usage went up. So the fact that it's on mobile makes the whole difference, and the way people are using the mobile has also completely changed. It's like a device which you would, if you could, you would wear it around your neck like something which you could always constantly have.
So that brings up a point. If I asked a couple of them, what will happen if you lost your mobile for a couple of days?
I think some people would just go to the mental hospital straight away. Depression or loneliness or something like that.
Yeah. And there is a term for that one, right?
Is nomophobia. And dailymail.co.uk actually lists the nomophobia, the fear of not being in touch with your phone, as one of the biggest phobias in the world. Now this was listed in 2012.
WhatsApp is amazing, right? I went to the doctor and the doctor said, today we have WhatsApp. And the guys who did the office work here, they use primarily WhatsApp. I mean, I was like, what design it's going to be? They said WhatsApp, we'll send the WhatsApp update. Amazing, right? And Messenger is something that we have to talk a lot. I mean, it is changing completely. And the recent study, there was mobile study was there, how people are using Messenger. That is also going to change the way.
Messenger as in?
Like
Instant
WhatsApp, instant messaging,
yes,
chat, and how it is used for companies, internal communication. I mean, that's a huge space in itself, right?
I would like to again stick with the data, which I have little research. So back to the point where you said the personal touch, so correct, so true, that people these days, like especially Indian market, they just want the personal touch. And as you mentioned, most of the people are into the communication. 78% people are using just for the communication purpose. So more than 100 times a day, a frequency at which 25% users check their smartphone. Every 3 hours they are using it. And out of every 3 hours, 1 hour is just for the communication. Correct. 3 hours in a day, if they are using, 1 hour is just for the communication purpose. And I'll give you a story. So this time when my hubby was outside in US, my father-in-law came to help me. So as a token of thank you, I have given Nexus 4 to my father-in-law. And you won't believe, the first thing he said, "Beta, can you do me one favor?" I said, "Yeah, what?" "Can you please install WhatsApp on my phone?" And then I was seeing the history of WhatsApp, and it was written, this is the first application after activation. This is the first application people install.
How old is he, by the way?
He is 64 or 65.
That brings up another couple of points I want to mention is, Flipkart has come up with buy with your friends. Did you heard about that?
No.
Yes. Okay, so you both install, you shop together.
Yes, and while you can ask each other for an opinion on the same product, right?
Yes. So that's an interesting thing. And my wife was like, we both will shop, and once it goes to the shopping cart, I leave you.
That's smart.
Right, so that is also going to change. I mean, it will be different to see. And also maybe if we can just talk about how we use...
And the fact is that this feature is there. But had it been a desktop only feature, would it have taken off?
No way.
The fact is that features were already there. My mom also, at the age of 65, I introduced her to, email. And the first email she sent me was blank. And she told me, I don't know what happened to it on the way. But I gave her a smartphone and she caught on to WhatsApp and all other Pinterest, and she's talking to me at Pinterest, and she's telling me that's a beautiful thing, and she's sharing it with me, because the touch part element which we talked about before is what makes it so intuitive and easy that a kid, if you see how kids use tablets,
Huge.
it's like, I can't open it, and it's so intuitive. It's very, hats off to Steve Jobs, the way he did concept and the way it has all made, it's like amazing.
Yeah. So see, there's a 2-year-old who comes here. She opens up Anusha's phone and she opens up YouTube and she plays.
So they have
exactly 2-year-old. She comes
2
here.
2 years is old. There are kids like 6 months also. They are like, it's like, because it's so intuitive, and they can pinch and they can zoom, because it's an a natural movement which you are mapping onto a digital device.
Yes.
But it's a natural movement, so it becomes so...
Yeah. I want to talk to you about a little bit about how we all use phones. Maybe that will give a perspective. I use primarily for podcast, one of the thing, mobile payment transactions that I make. Of course, Uber, that's a favorite app too. I use Google Photos, which is easy for me to organize, which when I take pictures, it organizes. Of course, Periscope, videos. But primarily, I listen to podcasts and to produce content. Right now, it has completely changed. I'm not investing in any camera or anything, but it's all phone. Especially, I wanted to have a larger memory, so I went and bought this one 128 GB, just for production purposes.
And just a point here that, if you buy an iPhone, you don't have a budget for a camera anyway.
I know. So those are some of the things that I use for. Maybe you guys can share how you use it for.
It's very difficult to say because you use it for so many things. I'm sure I missed out something. It's for calling people, for chatting, for watching YouTube movies, entertainment, listening to music, booking taxis. It's like
without it, we cannot
survive. You can get married to your phone. So everything you need.
So there was a research that these are the things which are there, but two apps which are still, need to pick up in India. One, financial. So people, there are financial, like the Money View and all things are still there, but we are still not user friendly that we install it and it just shows the amount spent and the amount. And the locals, we are started to use the locals, but again, which most of the population is still not using. So I feel these are the two domains or the two applications.
So when you say locals, what is it that you're referring to here?
Local in Bangalore, local food chains, local especially like the jewelry shop. So there are a lot of apps which are coming, but they are not as popular as Uber Taxi, as Facebook, as WhatsApp Messenger.
Talking about finance, trading in India, especially not with the smartphone, but the feature phone. A lot of people from other places, they use it for trading. They're using it, which we are not talking, but that's a huge business in itself. Right? That's one of the things. And agriculture, the use in rural areas, agriculture.
Totally.
So before the smartphone, Reliance used to run these campaigns for villages where they used to use the SMS marketing as an educational tool to teach women about hygiene after pregnancy and literacy and all of that. So that's what I was saying, right, in the initial thing, that when we talk about mobile, internet is a big part of it, I admit, but there are still pockets of our country where internet is not a
feasible way, yes.
But that does not mean they are not approaching the mobile channel.
I'll again give you the statistics for the urban now. So tier 1 is covered, we are using. Tier 2 and tier 3 are still picking up, but they are picking up in a very fast range, like 35%, which I'm seeing the trend. So initially the 4%, from 4% to 35%.
That's a huge,
like
in
the
3 years.
in these 3 years, they are using the smartphone. So which is also which we like, like which he said, agriculture. Of course, we would like
and
the tier 2, tier 3 people
the potential of these things, and especially in these kind of fields, it's like there is so much potential if we with the Digital India campaign.
Exactly, we talked about that.
Building the infrastructure to ensure that this becomes possible in another maybe a year's time also.
Correct.
So there is that difference, of course, that if you see the urban community with smartphones, their behavior will be very different from the rural community. That difference will be there. For them, it will still be a work tool. But if you see some of the campaigns which were run recently, it's a tool where they listen to the radio, it is a tool where they listen to music, or they use the missed call marketing concepts.
Yeah, that one
so
was
radio,
what
Kankajura
Station, which Unilever launched a radio show, Kankajura. So these are ways in which they are tapping that.
Correct. See, I think in India we have to talk a couple of things. One is the language is important. Now there are language specific apps and all. Way to SMS is there, correct?
My mother-in-law WhatsApp only in Hindi.
Hindi.
Quite easy to just change the keyboard on your phone and tap in the language you are comfortable with.
Even all the applications, for example, Daily Hunt, the local newspaper, so that's in the 17 language. Whatever the language you have, you can use. That's also
language plays a major role, and SMS plays a major role. How Zip Dial, Valvery got started with this, which was acquired by Twitter. That story itself is amazing to see. Talks about how the sachet, what's a small packet, that's a concept that she took because that is so powerful in India. Like that, the missed call concept is so great in India. They utilized it completely. I mean, now for verification, for any kind of campaigns that they're running, you SMS or you give a missed call, and now they got the data. When we give a missed call, we are not charged. So, but that goes as a vote, right? It's a click. But they also have our data, right? Which is useful for later, right?
And
For
one
other
thing is like
campaigns.
the traditional mobile marketing methods like SMS and all of that. They are still like, if I want to make sure, and this is like in Bangalore, which is still one of the better, technology enabled cities of India. But even then, if I want to make 100% sure that you got my message, I will still use an SMS versus a WhatsApp or something like that.
Correct.
Because the internet reliability is not 100% even now.
And I feel that's an Indian culture. I was very surprised, even my friends were surprised when we were in US and my mama used to give me a missed call. I said, Mama, either you just call me that's not the US culture at all.
Right.
That's the Indian,
Missed call is like
whenever you're free, just call me back.
Yeah.
That is the indication which we are giving.
Drivers waiting, I give a missed call. That means he's arrived
He's
to
arrived.
our place, right?
Yeah.
Alright, with that we come to the end of the discussion. That was Suresh Babu, founder and CEO Web Marketing Academy, who is participating in the discussion. We also have Monica and Sumedha, a faculty at Web Marketing Academy, who has also participated in the discussion. We also have Bharani, the editor of all the podcasts at Web Marketing Academy, who did the periscope for us for this whole discussion. Thank you so much, Bharani. With that, we come to the end of this discussion. I'm sure you also have an opinion about the whole of the internet going mobile in the Indian scenario when it comes to geographies. So please do share your opinion. Since this is also a new show, it would be of great help if you could share your ratings and reviews. Please do give us your feedback. For those of you who have something to say, you can leave a comment in the comment section below, or you could get in touch with us on SURESH. That's Suresh at webmarketingacademy.in. We hope you've enjoyed the weekly updates. A heartfelt thanks to all the panelists here, Suresh Babu, Monica, Sumedha, and our editor Bharani, who have made this discussion happen. Thank you so much. That's about it from all of us here at Web Marketing Academy. Catch you same time next week. This is Mansi signing off with a bye-bye.